Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be working on something that I've been needing to do for quite some time, and that is installing an overhead light here on my leatherwork workbench. If you may have seen this video in the past about me working on the leatherwork workbench, and it was just a couple of videos back from this one, and I didn't install a light on it at that particular time because I didn't get a hold of a light fixture quite yet for that, and recently I did, so going to be getting it installed. I gotta get a couple of measurements from this and then be heading on out to the shop and getting started, so stick around. Alright, so the light stand for it is going to end up coming up right up in here, right next to my camera stand and fixed stamps. And that's because there's a 2x4 leg on the back side here, right about centered. Alright, so got out here in the shop and I'll show you the material that I'm going to be using for this. Here I have a Metalux LED light bulb, a light bar, 3400 lumens, 5-foot cord, and yes, a Bluetooth speaker that's set up on there. And this is going to be kind of interesting. This is kind of, I was wanting the LED system, but this was just kind of an added bonus. The other LEDs that they had there at the store were actually more expensive than what this one is. So I'm kind of skeptical about it, but I want to see how it is. And it's not like I'm going to be using it all the time. I did go ahead and get a power cord from there as well, because I'm running short on cords and to be able to scout from. So I went ahead and bought a 9-footer. Of course, your switch, cover, handy box, and a couple of Romex connectors. Those will be used on here for this cable, and the cable that will be coming from this, and this will be hardwired to the switch. So I know that they have little switched outlets very similar to the one I have here on my table saw, but I'm just wanting to go ahead and go with a hardwire straight to this and not really worry about it too much. And this 2x4 is all I'm going to be using. It is a little gnarled up. I'm going to try to remedy that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece down to a 6-foot piece instead of the 5 that I was going to go with. And then that will leave me 2 feet down here. I'm just going to do a 1 foot, 1 foot, and then leave this out as a 6-foot, and I'll do the bar that comes up and when it comes out, and then I'm going to do a 45 off of that with the other 1 foot piece, and that way, and then on that 45 is where I'll probably end up mounting a piece of plywood there, so I can screw the light onto that piece of plywood and be a little bit more secure that way. So that's the plan, and let's go ahead and jump onto it. Alright, so still not the prettiest on this side. Didn't quite get all of it, but I'm not going to worry too much. This will, in fact, be the back side. But what I am going to go ahead and do is grab my palm sander and go ahead and knock some of this down. And go ahead and hit this side as well, because you still see the rough cut on here. And go ahead and get this knocked out. And I got to go ahead and start assembling this and so on and so forth. So, let's go ahead and get on to it. I've got this much of it done so far, all the way up there. I already got this mounted up, and it is ready for the light, the rest of it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the light out of the box, figure out what size of piece I need for here to help brace the light, and then start on my electrical for this, and hopefully should be able to get it going, get it mounted here before long. So let's go ahead and get this light opened up. Alright, so with this light, alright, it's got speakers on both sides. It's got the pull chain over here on the left. I don't know if it's catching on the camera. It's got the pull chain over here on the left. I need to clean this off real quick before we get too far along. So I don't need the sawdust getting up into those speakers. Alright. So, pull chain over there, it's got the film on it, the hardware that comes with it, a couple of brackets, eyelets, a couple of chain, a couple of hooks for the chain, and an extension for the pull chain. So it appears, like here on the back, that these mount on the back here, so you can actually mount these however you want, and be able to screw this into whatever, and then be able to pop it on just like that. It pops off right back off, and it already has setups here on the end to be able to hook your chain onto, and so you can do it that way as well. What I want to go ahead and do is, since I now know it's not really going to matter, I'll go ahead and get a piece of plywood set up and go from there. So I'm just going to be using these pieces here, so that way it just makes it a little bit easier on me. Alright, so I decided to put it up here on the toe of the upper board instead of down here, because I was started thinking about it. I want it more directly down than angled out, maybe. Worst case scenario, later I'll just go ahead and pull these two screws and move it down here. Worst case scenario. So I got the hardware mounted up here. I use number 10 machine screws, as you can see here. I'll go ahead and get the light up there and see what happens. Let's see how well I might have gotten this lined up. Okay. That went on a lot easier than I was originally thinking. So that's the gist of what this is going to look like. I am going to go ahead and take this cable and run on the inside and then down this to the where the switch is going to be, and go ahead and finish it out that way. So I'll go ahead and get that going. So I got the cable ran down here. I'm using these little white ties to hold the strap, just to keep it tidy, going down the main deal here. So the reason why I use these Romex connectors, these non-metallic, they're non-metallic box connectors. Trade names usually Romex connectors, but I use these just because they're cheap, they're easy to get a hold of, and easy to install, and it helps out with kind of helping protect the cable a little bit. So looks like numbers are the hot. Alright, so hot, ground, neutral. Ground is always in between your two traveling conductors. So the one with the lettering and numbering on it is your hot, your black wire, in other words. The middle one is your ground, your green wire, and this other one with the other one with nothing on it is your neutral wire, your white wire. Just so you guys know, if you decided to do it this way. Like I said before, they do have those switched outlets, and that would work. But like I said, I'm just wanting to have this hardwired in there. got everything wired up. You can kind of see how I got this here. This is the main wire coming out, the light going up the post, out to the light. And let's go ahead and try this in, go ahead and plug this in and test it. I might have to turn that one on, the drawstring. Alright, so, oh yeah, wow. Yeah, I think that's gonna be plenty of light. Woo! There's the speakers. Alright, so, yeah, this is gonna work. Now, yeah, this is gonna work. Now we gotta go ahead and get this on inside and get it mounted. I wanted to use 2 carriage bolts to go ahead and mount it to the legs of to that one leg of the workbench, and that way it's pretty well secured there. And go ahead and put it back into use. I shouldn't say back into use, go ahead and put it into use. Now don't mind the mess that's on the workbench. I got projects and other things I'm trying to get started on and been tinkering. So this is it, and I made sure I had it high enough to where it would be more directly down. So I think I want to leave it like this, because like I said earlier, I had anticipated putting it across here, but since I had a little bit extra up there, I went ahead and put it up there because I just wanted to see. But I think I'm gonna leave it there because this does allow for quite a bit of direct light down. So I think it's gonna work pretty good. So that way you guys can actually see what I'm working on whenever I'm doing the leather work. And I know I've been struggling with this for a while. It's just a matter of being able to get to where I could do this was a completely different story. So now I'm officially able to, and did so. So if you guys like to what you're watching, like to what you watched, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more of this type of stuff, hit the subscribe. If you want to go check out YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, they'll all be linked in the description below. And now I'm going to go ahead and jump onto the video verse. Alright, so if you guys have been following along, we are continuing on in Hebrews chapter 10. We're doing verses 19 through 25. It says, "Therefore, brothers and sisters, since we have boldness to enter the sanctuary through the blood of Jesus, he has inaugurated for us a new and living way through the curtain. This is through his flesh. And since we have a great high priest over the house of God, let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, with our hearts sprinkled clean from an evil conscience and our bodies washed in pure water. Let us hold on to the confession of our hope without wavering, since he who promised is faithful. And let us watch out for one another to provoke love and good works, not neglecting to gather together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging each other, and all the more as you see the day approaching." And that is Hebrews chapter 10, verses 19 through 25. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one.